So I got my answer. Adesanya versus Whittaker is targeted for January. Now, we discussed this a couple of days ago, that when you have a fight that's the obvious fight, Adesanya, Whittaker, Dana's already said that's the fight that I want to do. When you have this obvious fight, and then things go oddly quiet, you don't hear Adesanya say anything, and you don't hear Whittaker saying anything. When they go oddly quiet, that generally is a clue that, okay, that fight's done. Sometimes you'll have the opposite interpretation. Man, I haven't heard anything about that in a while. Yeah, you're right. And it's not a big period of time. But once those things are done, until Dana, in this case, who did it personally, makes the announcement, he asked that the fighters don't make the announcement, because the fighters really don't have a way to make an announcement aside from their social media platform, and Dana has a way that he wants this delivered. Great. That's what happened here. But that still opens up a ton of questions. For example, what do you do with Brunson? I don't think that there's going to be a wrong answer. I think Brunson has won everybody's, captured your imaginations, but also earned your respect. I think that Brunson's done that. So I don't know that it overly matters what you do with Brunson, but that's still a very hot hand that you want to play it appropriately. By example, if I told you that Brunson's going to go fight Paulo Costa, you're probably going to go, awesome. Can't wait to see the fight. If I told you they were doing that, though, I'm also telling you two red hot, two contenders, two potential future contenders, and one of them's going to wipe the other one out. So strategically, what happens next for Brunson has to be calculated. He has a lot to lose right now. Brunson is in a wonderful and beautiful spot. But every time you sit down to the table, all chips are in. Whatever you bring, that's the tough part about combat. You bring a beautiful record, it's on the line. You bring any kind of a championship, it's up for grabs. So I only bring that to you because what Brunson does next, now that we've eliminated, right? We're having to do who does Brunson face in reverse order by knowing two guys that he won't be facing. He will not be facing Adesanya or Whittaker next. I don't mind the idea of the backup fighter. I've loved it from a piece of marketing. I respect the guy that goes in and does it. And if you are Brunson and you're going, you know what? I'm the top dog. I'm going to sit and wait. The sit and wait has never worked out for anybody. It just hasn't. We've only had one example in the sport's history where anybody was even put in that position. It was Francis Ngannou. When Francis iced Rosenstrike, Dana goes, he's done. This guy is done. Talking about Francis until he can fight for a world title, which was still set to be contested between Stipe and Cormier. So we've never really had anybody wait except for Francis. And I only bring that to you because if Brunson's first inclination is, I'm going to wait, I'm not going to risk it, I'm not, you know what? Meet me in the middle here, Derek. Call Dana, offer your services in a backup position for that fight. Puts you in training camp, gives you purpose, keeps your name out there. It's not a full ducking, by the way. It's not ducking and avoiding something else that is going to come up. Somewhere on the second floor at UFC headquarters is going to get an idea about you, Derek. If you don't want to hear that idea, you got to get in front of it with your own. And I would just suggest the backup fighter because I do think that, I feel like I'm talking to Derek directly now, right? But to you guys about Derek, he's in a beautiful spot. He's in a rare spot. He earned this spot. You don't get to sit on your spot. No matter where you are, you don't get to sit in. What you did for me yesterday, what have you done for me lately? It doesn't matter. What can you do next? Okay, just knowing that. If he doesn't want to risk it, that's if. Get in front of it. Get yourself something to do. Backup spot. Very safe position. You have nothing at risk anybody can take from you. You are in a position where you keep hope alive and you might be the one to be able to slide in. You keep your weight under control, the holidays, the new year, all the things that are coming that could be distractions, they won't pertain to you. Consider that. I'm just asking that that be considered. Because it's an interesting hand. It's going to be interesting how he plays it. Paulo Costa, that's another one. I just haven't heard what's next for him. Paulo Costa was so red hot and will be when he wants to be again. He's good at bringing in the cameras and making his own stuff. He's good at being silly on social media. He's not afraid of anybody. He's always got a cool shirt on. I mean, right, not for nothing, but Paulo Costa just kind of works. He's just kind of front page news in MMA when he wants to be. He's laid out. He's taken his oars out of the water for a period of time. I haven't heard a peep about Paulo Costa. I have not seen him show up at an event for a cameo in 4, 5, 6 weeks. It's a long time in MMA. But that could also tell us, if we're just guessing and we're being fair, we're keeping everything equal, that could tell us his recent silence means a deal is done that we just haven't heard about yet. Speculative by me, speculative at best. I'm coming to you with all sorts of information, fully admitting to you I have no evidence, but I do have clues. We have a couple clues sifting around. I think Whittaker's got a bad rap, by the way, by everybody, including me. I think when Whittaker made that comment about fighting Adesanya, I wouldn't be stoked for it. Stoked is a word, I don't hear it a lot. In all fairness, I would have a hard time defining it for you. Stoked, from a guy who is in New Zealand, who is a little bit different form of English, in all fairness, we don't really know what stoked means, and we all decided that, he's scared and he just turned down Adesanya. There's nothing wrong about going into a fight respectful of your opponent. It's not what we generally see. So when we see something that we're not familiar with, we then decide it's bad, right? We as the community. I think that we need to give Whittaker a redo. First off, I don't know what the word stoked means completely. Secondly, whatever his interpretation of meaning of it was, I feel like it was misapplied. And either way, he's going to go fight Izzy. So we don't get to use that one against him anymore. It's done. Whittaker's earned the number one contendership. You bet your ass he has. He's a top 5 ever in the weight class against Izzy. The number 1 ever in a weight class. But when you have 2 of the best ever in the same weight at the same time, you got to put them together.